Very pleased now to be joined by the one and only, the dashing, the debonair. I just started season 4 of The Bear, and I believe he is in episode 3. It is from Chat Sports, Tom Downey. Tom, is that true?
I don't think so.
Are you a Bear fan?
I got through the first couple episodes with the wife, and I went, I want to watch TV that relaxes me, not gives me more anxiety. I get enough of that on Sundays already.
I don't. I'm only one episode into season 4. I'm past the point of it giving me anxiety. Like it's
Okay,
just
so
annoying. It's so artsy fartsy, and I really kind of hate everything about it at this point. So I hate everything that happens on Sundays as well. So I hate everything. Really is kind of where I come down on things.
it's kind of why I want relaxing comedy shows and not quite full on drama. It was good the episodes I watched, but I couldn't keep doing it.
The reason I wanted to have you on today is because I get told often that my tweets can be emotional during Cowboys games. You're that person all the time. And we are about 2 weeks away from the Cowboys reporting to training camp, and I wanted to talk about training camp, but in a predictive way. I sent you some prompts, things that we're going to kind of predict as it relates to training camp. Do you feel properly ready to do this, despite the fact that you do it every single day at Chat Sports?
Yes, I feel good to go.
Now, before we get to the prompts, I didn't prep you for this, but it is kind of happening all over the place in terms of conversation around the Cowboys. I know you released a video about this, but how big of a deal is the Cavante Turpin arrest in your estimation? I haven't had a chance to talk about this yet, and I want to kind of flesh it out with you as I button my shirt up. Didn't mean to expose everything to you.
Oh, no, you're fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal. For me, this falls into the I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed bucket. Like, don't be speeding. Don't have weed and a gun in your car at the same time while speeding. Like, there's not going to be any suspension. Like, I'm sure Schottenheimer will use it as like a teaching moment, but it'd be nice to not have nonsense during July for the Cowboys, even though we're going to contract wise no matter what. But like, still,
when I first started blogging, creating, whatever you want to call it, I used to have a thing that I would reference called the purple pants rule. And it is like a creed in my personal life. And if you got a job, like if Chat Sports were to be like, Tom, we'll pay you like the $5 million a year we're paying you, obviously. And here's your contract. And you read through it and it had all these like stipulations, and it said, you can't wear purple pants to work on Wednesday. That's kind of a dumb rule, but if you signed the contract and you agreed to not do it, and then you wore purple pants to work on Wednesday, you can't be like, this is a stupid rule. Like, you knew it was a rule. And I think that's true relative to the law, but certainly relative to this specific thing. And I was trying to come up with a comp for it, like how I felt in terms of like the severity or the intensity for Cowboys history. And I was looking actually through your Twitter and searching the word arrest. You've actually tweeted that word a lot in your life, in your career. The first instance was Draymond Green almost a decade ago. So just so you're aware.
How about that?
But it was Lucky Whitehead. That feels like the right comp for this situation. Now, he was made an example of. Because Jason Garrett was kind of nearing the end of his rope and he really needed that sacrificial lamb, and then that blew up in their face because of course it did. I've seen some of that, like some people saying like Brian Schottenheimer should do this or that. I really don't think it's his first training camp. I don't subscribe to that. I'm curious if you think he should make an example out of Turpin.
I think the make an example would be like internally and not cutting anybody, especially someone who you just paid this offseason. Especially over, I don't even know if it's as bad as the Whitehead arrest necessarily. But
that was shoplifting, to be clear, and ultimately a case of mistaken identity. And after his dog was stolen, so that was a whole saga. To be fair,
you're right. That thing blew up in the face is probably right way to describe that one. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be anything more than like sit down. Hey, don't do this again. Also, hey, I'm going to call you out in front of the team.
Kind of like when Monica fired Joey, and whatnot. So hopefully Turpin is a team player in that sense. Okay, let's get to the prompts that I sent your way. You mentioned the contract drama. This is difficult to talk about because we've talked about it forever and ever and ever. But I did want to like put your opinion out there so we could measure it against something. Will Micah's deal be taken care of before the Cowboys leave Oxnard? CD's wasn't, Dax wasn't, just for relative history for people who forgot.
The odds say no, but I am going to send some positive energy out and say yes, it will, just because for as big of a contract as this is and like expensive and seemingly complicated, I don't actually think it's that hard of a deal to get done. Like, I think it actually should be a deal that's not overly complicated with the now not so secret meeting that those two sides have, and then just haven't tried to get it done since then. So I'm going to go with yes, it gets done before the Oxnard portion's over.
That doesn't. That sounds like
Wish casting.
Yeah, like I really hate when someone will be like a year ago, like, man, I think that Ryan Flournoy is going to really surprise people. Like, no, you want this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you're confusing what you want with what you believe.
Absolutely.
And so
what I'm doing here.
So that's my point. Like, there's no data. Like not even a crumb
No
of data to support that this will happen. And so I guess if we presume that it won't, because I'm going to say no, to be clear, I appreciate your optimism, but if we presume that it doesn't, does it exist as the same sized elephant in the room that CD and Dak did a year ago? Even though Dak was there, that's what kind of makes it an interesting question in my mind.
Maybe in between, because Dak, the quarterback, never going to hold out. Lamb clearly was. I feel like the end result here is Micah's present. He's not really doing anything while he's waiting for the deal. Although I do think his plan going into minicamp and OTAs was, I'm not going to do anything. And then he's kind of got that like extra competitiveness in him where he just wants to do something, and he goes out there with like the shells when I'm sure his agent didn't like that particularly much. And like maybe he does like the walkthrough stuff where he doesn't risk injury, but it ends up being like just this like awkward waiting game of like, when does it get done? They say it's going to get done, but like, will it happen? And then they give him the contract that we all predicted 5 months ago.
5 months ago, 17 months ago, because you could have done it a year ago. You know what I mean? I think if I have to add a secondary prediction, there will be like a celebrity, like Denzel or somebody like that makes their way through and that is doing the like chat with Jerry, and that is like, man, how come y'all are waiting so long to do these deals? Like a semi plugged in, celebrity fan, like somebody who watches Chat Sports, because obviously you know what I mean?
I like this. I like that call. That's good.
Okay, so prop
number 4.
Prop number 2. This one I was very curious for your thoughts. I'm also scared of your thoughts on number 3, per your own answer to the DM.
You there.
But number 2, who will be the player that goes from? I worded this more aggressively in our DM, so I tried to nice it up. But from behind the scenes to mainstream, because there is like Cavante Turpin was one of those. Granted, that was somewhat because of the preseason game performances. That being said, like the dude who isn't anywhere near the cover of game day programs, somebody who doesn't make it to the social graphics, somebody who nobody would think about buying their jersey, but in a moment's notice becomes a fan favorite.
Well, I think insert your favorite wide receiver here is one we do literally every single offseason. I think it'll be year 3 now of Jalen Cropper being that guy in some capacity. So
I'll artist formerly known as Jalen Moreno Cropper.
Exactly. I'll skip the receiver because that feels like too easy, low hanging fruit. But I mean, you mentioned Flournoy earlier. That's a good one. It's that people seem to like Trayshawn Holden already. How about Elijah Clark, who they gave a pretty decent UDFA sized contract to, and we kind of did that in similar fashion last year to Julius Wood, and then we all got upset when he actually did get claimed by the Titans. I have a tough time getting the math to work in any roster projection of the Cowboys carrying 5 safeties, not including Israel Mukuamu. And I think you'd be able to get into the practice squad since he was undrafted. So I'll go with Elijah Clark, and he makes like some preseason interception, and just like Wood last year, we all get super hyped.
And you think he makes the roster? Are you going that far?
I don't think so. I think he gets cut, and I think you can get him through the practice squad because 97 times out of 100 you do. So I'll go that one, but all the receivers make sense because you don't have the spots either.
I really I like Izzy Mukuamu. I don't know that he's a lock. They gave him a 1-year deal. You know what I mean? So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why this is an interesting answer. And we approached this differently, which was shout out to me. It's a really good question. Because I had 2 thoughts. One of them was Brevin Spanford on the subject of UDFAs, who they've given a lot of money to.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you have to like squint hard at all to see like Luke Schoonmaker doing like nothing, and
Mhm.
Brevin Spanford having like a Rico Gathers ish type, like just amazing catch. I mean, like John
God, the Rico
Machota's
hype.
tweets after tweets, like, all these highlights of him making these big time red zone catches. Like you could, and then like again, like, Todd Archer's training camp notes, like Dak Prescott has really
Mhm.
found something with Brevin Spanford. Like I
I
could,
like
I
that
could
one.
totally see that. And similarly, this is like total opposite end of the spectrum from an investment standpoint. I do think a somewhat invisible person or someone who has become invisible is Marshawn Nealon.
Mhm.
Like we've kind of forgotten that he existed. I could totally see him having like a big camp, and obviously wearing 94. It's such a lame trope at this point, but like I could see people falling in love with Marshawn Nealon.
I would like that because I think you need someone on the edge who's a little bit bigger, like Fowler and Ezeraku, who I both like, are both kind of more pass rushy edge speed guys. And Nealon's a little bit bigger, so I would like that one. Maybe Peyton Turner could be that too.
That's true. Also a forgotten man. Like when you
Mhm.
talk about like all the things they did this offseason, Peyton Turner, and I'm not here wish casting, but I mean, I get that there's reason to kind of forget, all due respect, but that could be that might be the name. Like, and people would be
Mhm.
like, man, we got this guy back at the beginning of free agency, and Steven knows what he's doing, and blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
well, good for you. Okay. Well, I teased it and you teased it. I asked you this. I don't want to say the way I asked this, but I asked you to predict something not good, but that is predictable. Like that was the way I phrased it. Like something that we
Mhm.
should be able to see coming. That for whatever reason
Mhm.
we're blind to right now. Maybe we're willfully blind or unwillfully. But so something that is the wolf in sheep's clothing that we just aren't fully aware of, and it's going to unveil itself and kick us in the teeth.
I will apologize in advance for this. And part one devolves into part two that might even make more people mad at me. It's that Brian Schottenheimer just isn't a good head coach. Like, isn't that like the number one fear though? That like also like if we were to look back with hindsight after an objectively bad head coaching hiring process, it's like, oh yeah, it turns out the guy that no one else wanted to even interview wasn't a good candidate.
um, I agree with the premise. I disagree that it's the number one fear because I think we live in this.
Mhm.
This feels like the final season of Game of Thrones. Like
That
most
was
had
really
already
bad.
kind of but most had already kind of accepted like
Mhm.
this is falling off the tracks. You know what I mean? And it just like kind of like the bear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we were like people use the expression like build the plane as you fly. Like we're
Mhm.
like the plane has already begun to deconstruct while we're flying. Like we're
Mhm.
watching this. So like my point is like if it crashes and burns, like we're kind of aware of that process happening. Yeah, like I've asked a lot of people about this, and so I'll segue this in a different question. Like it is kind of honestly kind of stupid how, and I put myself in this camp as well, so I'm kind of stupid how we have just
Mhm.
like forgotten like everything, like and for no reason, like if the hiring process had been a year ago and they had gone, I don't know, 13-4 and won a playoff game, like it would make sense to look back and be like, okay, well, we really freaked out for no reason,
Yeah.
like the guy knows what he's doing. But like because he is cool, like but because he
Mhm.
curses, you know what I
We
mean, like
like
in his
him.
press conferences, like that's it. Like are we this like like, oh, twinkling lights, like, oh, smoking, like that's kind of sad. Like the way I phrased it, I know I'm going long here, is like I think you agree that Cowboys fans are not as stereotypical as the national media makes them out to be. There aren't we dem boys people, but our willingness to just completely and totally fall in line with Brian
Mhm.
Schottenheimer being awesome because reasons sort of plays up to the stereotype that people have to us.
That's just fandom because fan is short for fanatic. It'd be weird if we didn't feel that way. Also, be a
Sure.
huge red flag if we didn't feel that way.
Sure.
Because like we're in the honeymoon phase. We're looking for reasons to have optimism. And I think he's given those. Like everything he's done
Sure.
post that process, I think has actually been good. The other coaching hirings, his attitude stuff overall. This is stuck in the back of my mind, and I've kind of hinted at it on previous shows. I've just been a coward to say it out loud. It kind of ties into this too. The part two that will have people mad at me. What if he's just Jason Garrett 2.0? Like the players love him. They always bought in with Garrett. That's
They
why he
never
never got
quit.
fired.
They never quit
They
on Garrett. Yeah.
which
Right.
by the way is a reason to not fire someone that day is not a reason to keep them around for almost 10 years, but I digress. I I think of some overlaps here of do we know if he's a great play caller? And Garrett kind of had ups and downs. I'll put it nicely with play calling. He is a player's coach. He is also the son of a longtime football guy. I also think that, and it's not a bad thing, but isn't Schottenheimer's essentially doing the right kind of guy approach again, all over again? Isn't that the exact same thing he's doing?
I mean, that makes the Turpin thing that we started with like ironic, obviously, and reminiscent of Lucky Whitehead. Although the Cowboys had went several directions under Garrett. I
also to interject, I also like how he's doing the bring back the legends guys. That is also something Jason Garrett did.
I agree.
There are some similarities there that kind of concern me.
I agree. And to be clear, like we can't be like anyone who is remotely similar. Like we can't have like Garrett PTSD. You know what I mean?
It's not all bad either.
Right. I think these are objectively good things. You know what I mean? Like if we did not have like the baggage that we have, I think we would be, in on them. And at a certain point, like everything is dumb until you win the Super Bowl. Like here, like that is the shadow that everyone lives in. And he has acknowledged that. I get that. I agree though, that because it's not just like your sort of answer was like, what if he's not a good head coach? Like he's also the play caller. Like, I mean, to your point, like we have kind of blurred those, but also forgotten that they're the same. He is involved in a number of things. I mean, it's been a very, very long time since someone was a first-year head coach, first-time play caller for the Cowboys. I mean, I stand by the fact that Mike McCarthy got very, very little credit for anything that he ever did. And like even still, I think
we're all both in bad moods.
Well, I think we're both Dak apologists. I think I would put us both in that camp. And people like us are quick to say, well, he was second in MVP voting in 2023. CeeDee Lamb was obviously awesome in 2023. And I know that the season was broken offensively until the powwow in San Francisco and all that jazz. But we give Mike no credit for that. Yeah. Like we give Kellen more credit, and I'm not trying to say Kellen deserves none, but we give Mike zero credit for any of the offensive success that has happened over the last half decade. I mean, and the idea that Schottenheimer is going to just pick up and make it better because we want it to happen is strange to me.
There is a real possibility that he ends up being, I think it was Rappaport said something similar years ago, actually, of, he's a better head coach candidate than he is play caller. Well, he's also the play caller, so like that kind of like doesn't necessarily concern me. So like I know that whole conversation is very negative, but that's the point of it, of like dark concerns. The extra bonus one is Dak gets hurt again, and that's a really dark path to go down.
We are talking on the day that he said at his camp that he anticipates being a full go. So you are really peeing into the wind in a lot of ways here. I do think
that's my big concern of like, because I think he should bounce back. But like if another injury happens, then we're like right in that like 2012, 2013 Romo era, because they're still the exact same team with different quarterbacks. And then it becomes, okay, how much longer until it's not going to ever stay healthy?
So two things here. One, the last time Dak was returning from having missed an inordinate amount of time like this was in 2021. And that was the year that he had the shoulder thing flare up at training camp. The year they were on Hard Knocks. And that was like big time drama because we were super concerned because of the year before, et cetera, et cetera. That being said, I have a weird question. And I haven't asked it, or I haven't even really like put the words together in my mind. So consider yourself honored. I've tried to answer, even though I haven't asked it in my mind, this question. 2025 for Dak is what year for Romo? Like if we put him on the Romo timeline, like what? Because you kind of have to answer what 2024 is for Dak relative to Romo first.
I would like it if 2024 for Dak ended up being 2010 for Romo, where
instead of 2015
they weren't playing well that season. Like they were like 1-5 or something when he got hurt, and the season quick after that, and he had like one of his worst touchdown interception ratios, and then he bounced back. They only went 8-8, but he had like the 31-10 touchdown season.
In 2011, right?
Yeah, then 2011. That would be, I think, the ideal outcome. I do worry a little bit that, I hope this wasn't the 2015 campaign, because that's like the worst case outcome.
Yeah.
Where it's like another injury and it's like, okay, is he ever going to be able to stay healthy, period?
If we like relayer the onion and pack them on top instead of peeling them back, if 2010 Romo was 2024 Dak, then that means Wade was his McCarthy. You know what I mean? Like Wade to Romo was to what McCarthy was to Dak, which is again the
and then it makes Garrett Parcells. Okay, this totally works.
It makes Garrett Schottenheimer to Dak. Dak's Garrett, even though he had Garrett, is Brian Schottenheimer, and so first time head coach, and that was like the big old thing in 2011. Like, oh, they went 8-8, blah blah, whatever. So yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, there's no good way to say that, but
we got nothing to look forward to the past 30 years.
I do worry that it is his 2016, like Romo's 2016. And if that were the case, like there is no Dak. Like there is, like, is it Joe Milton? Like who is Dak's Dak? Is it Joe Milton? I have no idea.
Hopefully, or we're stuck with a really bad contract for 2 years and tanking hardcore.
That was also the Romo situation. And then they made it a post-June 1st cut and contaminated it all. And it's been about a decade. So good job, Tom. Good job.
Sorry to bring everybody down.
Number 4. The first player who I changed this a little bit, who initiates or gets into, is roped into a fight. So basically the first person to throw a fist for whatever reason.
I think there are 2 answers here. George Pickens, Brock Hoffman.
I think Brock was my answer.
Hoffman is probably the initiates it.
Yeah. But maybe like instigates it is maybe my like he's the one talking, and somebody has just like finally had enough. I agree with that. Do you think it will happen before the scrimmage against the Rams?
Yes, I think maybe even to an extent, Schottenheimer will let it go a little bit longer to help get some of that energy out before they go play an opposing team and have fisticuffs going there. The one thing I wish we had Jordan Lewis on this team still, because it would have been off the books of a George Pickens, Jordan Lewis fight. Guaranteed it would have happened.
I don't know. See, like, I think they would have squashed it. I don't, you know.
Oh, they would have squashed it like early on, and then it would have come back out, and they just would have been jawing with each other the entire time.
This isn't or wasn't in the list of questions, but before we get to the last one, who has the highlight of camp? But I don't mean like it just winds up being the best one. I mean like the like Michael Gallup flip over the fence, like the ultimate highlight of camp.
George, like he's going to do something insane. Like the one part that's nice is that all our good beat reporters get to like actually film stuff, and there will be multiple just like, how did he make that catch? He already kind of did one at minicamp that we didn't get to see, but like everyone there was like, yeah, it was an incredible catch. Like he's going to do it. He'll probably do it on day 1 or day 2, just like something insane.
I agree. And then the Pickens stuff, I would say that it's going to be so ridiculous that for like 2 days, the extent, I haven't talked to you about this. I was against the Pickens trade, and I keep saying this just to be honest, but you traded for him. Cool. Now I'm pumped. Fine. Extend him. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing waiting to extend George Pickens at this point in time? And like all these people are like, well, I want to see him prove it. Then why did you trade for him? Like, what? Like the whole idea behind trading for him is that he would be awesome. That being said, I think he will have a highlight that is so ridiculous that for at least 2 days, the extend Pickens conversation is louder than the extend Micah one.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
This is like built for him, where there's like not quite full on contact and he gets to just be contested catch master. So I kind of want to see him prove it, because I just want to, I think he's okay waiting, so I'm not as upset with the Cowboys not doing it, but I also want to just like, you know, make sure we don't get as many crash outs as he had in Pittsburgh. He's going to have a crash out. It's going to happen at some point.
You think in camp, or you're saying like
probably,
at some point in the season?
Probably in season. Like he's just going to do something Pickensy.
Before,
Odell Beckham always did them too. It's your receivers need to have a little bit of diva.
Before or after Halloween for the predicted crash out?
I'll go after. Because the schedule gets a little bit tougher down the stretch. Well, a lot bit.
This one was honestly the one I was most excited to ask you. It's the last one, partly because you cast a negative for the third one and proved yourself to be correct. This is also maybe the hardest one and the easiest at the same time, which is what makes it difficult. Predicting the first national headline. I'm talking the thing that leads First Take, the thing that leads Get Up, like the thing that is, it can be dumb because that's generally the case, or it can be legitimate. This is fully up to you.
I have a double one that we'll get to. You essentially got to my other one though, which is George Pickens makes some unreal highlight catch, and it just leads everything. Because if I recall correctly, Steelers camp doesn't have the same level of recording of clips. Cowboys camp does. It's all open. Everyone films it. So they're going to get a good clip of Pickens mossing somebody out there, Kyrie Elam, whatever. Apologies for the corner who gets mossed, and that becomes like the number one story, and it becomes, did the Cowboys have the best wide receiver duo in the NFL?
Okay, I think that's a chalk one. But
Yeah.
you know, you're doing your best to be right, so I can
Mhm.
respect that. Mine is similar. It's very difficult to not be chalk with the Cowboys. I think you understand that. But mine is it will start from a tweet, and I'm even going to say from like a content creator. It will just start somewhere, and it will be a side by side comparison of the bleachers from last year.
Oh, that's a
When
good one.
when nobody was there, and then
Yeah.
like standing room only type thing, like fully packed, and it will be like, are the Cowboys back? Or blah blah blah, like, and not like the football team, but like Cowboys fans are back, and like what will lead it will be a Jerry quote that will be like, "This is our highest attended training camp practice in like 14 years" or something dumb.
I like that one. That's a very good one. My dumb one, by the way, was something about Joe Milton coming for Dak Prescott's job after he has a good day of camp. See, you know it.
That's a really good one. Like maybe the Pickens highlight is a ball thrown by Joe Milton, and it's a day that Dak got off. You know what I mean? Like a scheduled day off, and then there's all the like Dak apologists who are responding to the tweet that are like, it was a scheduled day off for Dak. You know what I mean? And it just becomes really toxic in that.
I also think it's something like Milton gets to work with the twos, and given the banged upness at corner, it's just like Joe Milton and Mingo and Flanoy, whoever, are just like absolutely cooking Andrew Booth on the outside. Apologies to Andrew Booth. And it's like Joe Milton was like 10 of 12 in team drills with 2 touchdowns, or had 2 on the ground because they were doing red zone stuff, but people don't realize it's the red zone stuff. And it's just like, Milton's going to take the job.
This is my last question, and then we'll get to whatever. But predicting the first tangential Cowboys national headline. So something that in a technical sense happens at a different training. And I can go first if you need some time. It's a name for you. So as I understand it, Trey Lance is on the Chargers roster. I know there was some kind of confusion here. It will be Trey Lance having a little bit of a day, having a little bit of a moment. And it may not be like quite a national headline, but it will be on the lower third. You know what I mean? Like it will get lower third pop that Trey Lance, and like, did the Cowboys mess up? Not did the 49ers mess up, but did the Cowboys mess up in letting Trey Lance walk?
I like that one. I kind of want to go back to the Jordan Lewis fight one. It just does that. Gets into it with Travis Hunter or something. Although they're in the same locker room still. Like they're in the same meeting room. They should be okay. Maybe it's with Brian Thomas.
It's tough. Like it might be.
You know what?
The easy one is like an Eagles fan saying something, or like
that's the free square.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni saying something like, that's easy as well.
What if it's Michael Gallup looks okay with Washington?
I think I would twist it and be like Michael Gallup saying like, Dan Quinn's culture here is the best I've ever been a part of.
Like
you know what I mean? And then it's like,
that's good.
And it's like, well, he was a part of the blah blah blah. Like it just,
or it's like Michael Gallup says Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback he's ever played with.
Or oh my gosh!
Former Cowboy player says current team is the best one he's ever done anything with, because they only ever say that no matter what.
Wow, that is a really good one. A la Cole Beasley. Turns out, I think everyone owes Cole Beasley an apology. Like Cole Beasley was right about the Bills' training facilities.
Right about a lot of things.
He was right about the training facilities. He was right about Josh Allen. He was right about a lot of crap. Like it's okay to say we were a little bit wrong. We were a little bit
Sometimes it's the messenger we were mad at.
Exactly. Do you have anything you want to say? Get off your chest. Anything that if you don't say it, you won't be able to sleep tonight, Tom?
Not really. I'm just excited to play more college football 26.
Well, tell us about your experience. We're recording on Tuesday, so you pre-ordered. I did not. So
I got the deluxe edition because I'm an addict. I mean, I was doing NCAA 14.
I remember
through COVID, so I was still playing it.
What have you done so far? Like, have you already started a Dynasty? If so, who? If so, how deep into it are you? Have you started Road to Glory? We need all the details, please.
I am a Dynasty guy through and through. Like, I don't really play a lot of Road to Glory. I just do a bunch of different Dynasties. So we're started the one of them that I will inevitably do like 5 or 6 of them. This is a group of 5 Dynasty only. So I am my alma mater, Miami of Ohio. Trying to build them up. It is going to be a lot more challenging this year because last year, like, nobody would leave user teams. Like, they would just stay. and
Right.
they wouldn't transfer unless they just like had a massive deal breaker like playing style. I'm going to lose all my good players after this season. Like all of them are like conference prestige and brand exposure. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to get any of that. So you're just going to leave.
Tom, for the viewing audience, is one of the people who I interact with in the social digital world enough that I consider to be a legitimate friend. So much so that he and I are PlayStation friends. Like that is, I'm not that level with a lot of people. And so like when Tom is playing Spider-Man, I know. When Tom is playing, anything, I know.
PGA Tour.
Yeah, I'm still on EA. I'm waiting for PGA Tour to be free, if I'm being fully honest with you.
Maybe they'll do it as the free game closer to the Tour Championship.
Yeah, like I'm thinking it's going to be like an August game. It's like the last sports one. I think NBA 2K was free.
Yeah, they gave away NBA
2K. I mean, generally the PGA 2K games have been free games at some point in time.
Yeah.
And since you obviously care, I'm on my 4th season in EA PGA Tour, which is a couple years old now, and I just won the Masters for the first time.
Nice.
It was sick. Like it was a really intense. It was on the 4th of July, so I felt really American. Like it was a big old deal for me. Well, best of luck to Miami of Ohio. Who's your next game?
I have whoever their week 4 opponent is. It hasn't advanced this week because I played it last night. We're through 3 weeks. So
you only got 3 games in on day 1?
We had to get it all set up, and then I joined 2 other dynasties where I had to do all the offseason stuff. So
do you? I promise, I legitimately cared. Do you run them in your other dynasties that you join?
I don't. This one I'm the commissioner of, but there's others that's like I'm co-commissioner essentially. So.
I know, but what team are you running? Are you running them?
Those are also, one of them is another G5. I'm Fresno because I didn't want to do 2 Miami of Ohio schools.
Right.
And I wanted to see like how it would be doing a California team because like I'm never California teams. And then the other one, I am Virginia Tech in. It's ACC, so it's buddy of mine's NC State. I'm Virginia Tech. We're trying to make it not easy on ourselves.
Did you pick them only to see the celebration?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to see the intro.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I applied there coming out of high school, and like I got in. So they were like, if I didn't go to Miami, I was probably going to go to Virginia Tech. So they've always got a soft spot.
Wow.
I thought Danny Cole was going to be so good.
We all did, dude. I mean, like Danny. Actually, as we wrap, 5 thought he was going to be awesome, and he wasn't. So like Jeff Heath doesn't fall in this because he was. Danny Cole, Matt Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah, that's number 2.
The 2 easy ones.
Yeah. I'm gonna go David Bueller.
Oh, yeah. See, but I'm anti-kicker, so I kind of don't.
He wasn't just a kicker, dude. I mean, so I mean,
he could tackle. Okay.
He wore gloves.
Too early.
So that's too early. That's 3. That's 3. Let's get to 5. Dudes you thought were going to be on, it weren't.
I think this year. Embarrassing myself. I did think Taco Charlton was actually going to be a pretty good player.
Yeah, well, that's a first round pick too. I'm going to go with Ryan Williams, the running back. When they signed him, I was like, okay, hell yeah. I was like, let's roll. I mean, because he was awesome. Didn't he go to Virginia Tech? Now that I think about that.
Yes, he did.
Look at that. We went full circle.
Devontae Holloman. Remember him?
He was awesome. He just had the medical unfortunate situation. He had the preseason, the Hall of Fame game touchdown that he scored. That was really great. No real quarterbacks on this list.
I mean, who's going to be Stephen McGee is the other one?
I mean, he was okay. He could run. I mean, Mike White, some people were in on for a little bit.
I was not as in on Mike White, although he's carved out a nice career.
Jonathan Garrett, the kicker out of Texas Tech, I thought he was the truth, man. I thought he was going to be legit.
This is way, way back, but I thought Woody Dantzler was going to be fun coming out of Clemson, which I would argue he was fun.
On the subject of Clemson, I didn't ask you this prompt, but I think I guess this is kind of the dude we don't really see coming. I think Phil Maffa could be he could be like this year's Tashard choice. You know what I mean?
Ooh, I like that comp. I might steal that for a show and give you a show. I like it. I like it actually. There's opportunity there in the backfield. So.
Like if I told you, if I came back from the future, was he had 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. I don't think you you could.
I'd be very happy.
Well, and because who's he stealing carries from? Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and I actually bold prediction. I think he winds up with more touches than Jaden Blue, just because he's more durable. I don't know that I fully believe that. I'm workshopping that. So
You're
let it bake.
wish casting it a little bit to tie it back in.
Tom, you are the best. Everybody check out Chat Sports. How many subscribers are y'all at now?
217,000 on the Cowboys report.
I mean, and how old is the channel and how long have you been a part of it?
7 years, I think, is the channel. And I'm coming up on my 10th year with the company.
Look at that. Wow. Your life is just on the internet now.
It is. That's all it is.
And early congratulations. Your family is, the fact that you've made time for college football is impressive.
Yeah, right? She's 6.5 months pregnant, so she's tired. So I just kind of get to skip with that one.
That work. Every other TikTok I see is like, oh, I got my 12-step skincare routine back because my boyfriend is playing college football. It's like, you could have done that anyway. Like, he would have found something to do, I promise.
I just would have kept playing video games instead.
Yeah, so, Tom, you're the man. Be well and eat something delicious.
Appreciate it.